Please mute your mics through the webinar. Turn on when indicated by the chairman. And in this case, I would like to introduce, I am honored to become the moderators of this section. And kindly turn off your camera to save the bandwidth. In case the internet interrupted or technical issues, reaccess via link that was sent to the email earlier and also the section we sent earlier. Kindly choose device with a stable internet connection for best experiences with our interesting section. Please type your question on the chat box that we would like to keep all of your questions in order to discuss in the coming day. Where tomorrow we will welcome the representative from European Commission as well as the Vice Chairman of Bình Dương together with the ambassadors of European Commission in Vietnam. All of the questions we answer maybe tomorrow if we have enough time, and later on after we collect all of the questions from your side, and the webinar will be recorded in order to share later on. So actually we are really happy to have you here in the very interesting workshop, and we will welcome around 500 registrations to our different workshops within today and tomorrow. And we hope that you also join with tomorrow in order to listen and sharing about our result, the key finding, and also learning in the section, in the 4 sections parallelly we have today. So thank you very much. And now I would like to remind you a bit about the sustainable global supply chain. So this is the first section. This is workshop number 2. And together with this, we also have another parallel section discussing about the manufacturing technologies. So what happened with our sustainable global chain we have facing today? From the point of view of World Trade Centers, as we have been in the market for more than 15 years in order to develop the global trade in ASEAN. So it's really challenging from everyone because the coronavirus pandemic has forced all of organizations to rethink their supply chain. So this is the perfect opportunity to start it again. And this is also the very great chance from the European Commission that they support us in order to organize the event in the hope that we will work together in order to linkages the new technologies from different countries. And we also need to work together, join hands in order to sustain our global supply chain, which is really in danger in the past year. In order to welcome to you in the section of the workshop today, especially the welcome section from my side from World Trade Center, Becamex IDC. We also have the chance in order to welcome Mr. Wilbert. He has so many years working in different countries in order to develop sustainable and competitive lean manufacturing in the post-pandemic global manufacturing landscape. And as you know that the Leonardo group, they have been in Vietnam market for almost 6 years. So they would like to share with you the case study. They have worked over here in ASEAN market as well as in Vietnam. This is the good chance for them in order to linkages the lean manufacturing from Europe. It's very famous in Europe, in Germany, into the Vietnam context. And we hope that the first section from Wilbert that could be make sense. In the next section with Wilbert, we also have the very interesting case study. And I believe that if we have done business in the international trade, many people have discussed about AI, VR, blockchain. And it's very interesting that we have the chairman of T-Food International GmbH over here. And he will share with you about the blockchain in food production and processing. And this is one of the things we are very proud of because this is one of the company in Vietnam. We have embedded blockchain in the food production and processing. And after the part of Dr. Đào Hà Trung, we also have another section. This is really the sharing from the Deputy Directors of Supporting Industry Center of Ho Chi Minh City, Ms. Oanh. She will give the overview to us about the sustainable manufacturing in Vietnam supporting industry. And we believe that that 3 section will be very critical for you and make you know about the very interesting things. So before the section of Fred Wilbert, I would like to share the experiences which WTC Bình Dương New City have facing nowadays. So the World Trade Center Bình Dương New City, we have developed in 2019, and we are the subsidiaries of Becamex IDC. As you may know that the Becamex IDC has developed for more than 30 years, and we are the leading industrial park developer in Vietnam. So with our experiences that developing different kind of industrial park developing in the north to the south of Vietnam, we have facing and worked with different kind of investors, and they told us that how could we support them in order to enhance the global chain, in order to support with different kind of company to join hand in the global chain. In the future, that if we do business in Vietnam, we can contact easily with different kind of supplier, and they do not need to source different kind of products from different countries like we have in the past year that we have China, we have different other countries surrounding ASEAN, but nowadays ASEAN has become one of the critical destinations for many investors to come and invest the manufacturing lines, assembly line over here. So we believe that redefining the global supply chain under the context of ASEAN generally, but also in Vietnam, that could be very critical in order to support other people to meet different kind of requirements. And in addition, under the role of World Trade Center, we also have very critical points that we need to support the SME, not only in Vietnam, but also around the world, that we can support them in two ways. And the first way that we could enhance the opportunities for Vietnamese and also other ASEAN SME to enhance the capability to go global. In another way around, that we also welcome different companies around the world, especially in Europe. And many other companies, especially the SME in Europe, they have shared with the World Trade Center that how could they join in the ASEAN market? How could they be supported by the organization? And how can they bring and transfer their technology into the setting of the ASEAN country? That is something make us concerned. And when we got these questions, we got a lot of questions from different investors, especially in the SME investor. So that's the reason why the World Trade Center would like to work with different partners to join in this section, this workshop section, in order to share the story, as well as we are also the hub to welcome all of the people to join with us. And we will be the linkages, we will be the platform in order to match you the right person, to match you the right SME in Vietnam, as well as provide you the platform in order to test how can we develop further the business, especially in ASEAN countries. This is also the good chance. And I do not want to keep you so long with our sharing. So for the next one, I would like to invite Mr. Fred Wilbert, the managing partner, Leonardo Group. He will share with you about the sustainable and competitive lean manufacturing in the post-pandemic global manufacturing landscape. And I would like Mr. Fred, please come up and share with people.
I think I'm online.
About the case study of Leonardo. Thank you very much. Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay, you would have to share the screen, please, with me, and then I could also show you my slides.
So the gear list, yeah.
Okay. Nevertheless, I'm Fred Wilbert, and yes, just listening to you, Lynn, it came to my mind that my master thesis I wrote 1986, a long time ago, was about reducing waste for a community where I was studying at. The university was placed there. And the target was to reduce the waste by 50%. And interesting enough, the target was not to save the environment. The target was because they had a limited space in their landfill. So times are changing. Times are changing. Today we're doing it for the environment. Back there we did it to simply save space. And yeah, this is a little bit my presentation here to talk about changes. And I think we have seen a couple of changes now in the last year, thanks to COVID. And also, of course, this has a great impact in the way we are manufacturing today, and we need to do a business. And on top, these environmental things are also coming there. And let's see how can we combine that? How can we deal with these kind of challenges? Now, traditionally, factories have to be, they're producing something, they're getting something in, they're putting something to that, and they're sending something out to the client. This is no new news. Nevertheless, back in the years now, in the last, I would say 30 years, we have seen a high degrees of flexibility in the factories. So the demand has been changing, the pattern of demand is changing, the products are more dynamic, the life cycle of the products are much faster, and therefore we have to be extremely flexible. Now, what's coming around here is the digital form of controlling that. So we see a lot of digital impact. And also I've been contributing that in my first 10 years of being in my profession. I've been dealing with ERP system, MES system, all kinds of, let's say, software to make it more transparent, to show what is coming up next, to maybe give you an idea of the forecast and incorporate that into your business. And yes, and we also try to do that in combination with automation. Human labor is getting tight and expensive, so we are seeking for more qualified people. And of course, we also see the impact of cost, and then we are trying to automate things. We're going to talk about this later a little bit, and then in combination with sustainability, which came up to say we have to do something about global warming, environmental things. We simply see that we can't continue like that. Otherwise, let's say we are killing our own planet, and that would be not very smart to do. Let's say it like that. On top, we have also discovered human beings. You wouldn't believe it. We have seen that we have to take care of our people, that we have to motivate them, that they are a huge source of intelligence, that we have the intelligence in our company to be utilized, to be used, and to simply also be supported. And yeah, and then we see the COVID coming around, making us sick and I don't know what. And we also then have to reduce that general risk of spreading viruses in our factories. So huge challenges we saw in the last 12 months. You wouldn't believe it. It's now 12 months. We have seen the first shutdowns, and now we understand more and more how to deal with that. Now, the first thing, of course, everybody has to take care of is you have to look at your financials. Without money, you can have big dreams and whatever, but you won't be able to survive it if you're not taking care of your cash flow. So this is one of the key things. And all the time I see, we have to go to the banks, the interest rates are low. We simply get some more money. No, you won't. If your business is in danger, the banks also will be closing for you. And one of the biggest impact I always see on working capital. And working capital is one of the key things you should watch out. And working capital is, of course, inventories. And one of the other changes is, if you want to go into automation, also it takes lots of money, and of course your overhead costs will be going up. And on the other side, if you have implemented automation, you will see that the indirect labor, that the direct labor is lower, but the indirect labor is going up. And of course, indirect labor is always more expensive than direct labor. Additional fact is depending on the material flow, and this has been crucial right now. You hear about the discussion within missing parts, electronic parts from the semiconductor industry, and of course, looking from a lean perspective, people have been ramping up their raw material, which is counterproductive to your working capital. But nevertheless, it's saving, it's securing your supply chain. And of course, this is a most critical thing right now, that the suppliers are getting less and less reliable. And of course, some of the companies that stock up their raw material are safer here than other ones that have a complete tight supply chain. We rather prefer to have a fast process to reduce your work in process, and of course to also reduce your finished good inventory, because you're directly linked to a customer demand. Yeah, and then on top, we've seen the questions of sustainability, to make factories green, to have a zero carbon footprint, and to make sure that we are also complying with all the regulations which are coming up right now, which you also have to follow no matter where you are in the world. We are just closing here legal requirements that we have to take care of our total supply chains here in Germany, and that you're responsible for that as well. And so this is another critical issue we have to deal with. And on top, of course, after all, resilient, you have to be resilient, otherwise you're not surviving anything. And this is what you also have to take care of. Now, greening the manufacturing, many factories simply ignore that somehow. Of course, you have to follow regulations. I've done projects in the former East Bloc countries, and I thought, I could play around a little bit with, for example, a galvanic department, could move it to some other place to make it more in sync with the transportation and supply chain issues. And then I was also told, no, you can't move it. This has been approved at this position here, and we have all the papers for that. And so you can't move that. And I was kind of surprised. I thought they were more liberal. No, they were not. You have to simply follow those regulations, and there's no other way around that. So today we are away from this, end of the pipe filtering, make the dust and then filter it later on out. No, we have to build it in. It shouldn't exist. And for me, it's quite interesting, because, thinking about waste, we always talked about waste and talking about 7 types of waste in lean manufacturing. And of course, anything that doesn't end in your product, in the end of the day, you have to avoid it. It's blown up in the air or pumped up in some disposal, whatever, but it's not ending up in your product. And what's not ending up in your product is not getting paid. So there's a big interest that you're taking care to reduce the waste in the end of the day, and to incorporate that in your continuous improvement process. This is most important, that people are continuously thinking about that. I've seen yield issues, that you pump in, let's say 20 tons of a liquid, and you only get 15 tons out of a product. And what is done with the other 5 tons, which are then somehow diluted in the process or diluted in some ways. So yield issues are most critical, that you're buying material and you're not completely using it. So this is a big source of improvement. And of course, in the end of the day, it only works if you incorporate, let's say, the brain of your people and your brain of your engineers, and you need to have a different mindset. Many people simply don't care. They look, but they don't see. Now they throw away, but they don't recognize that this is value, and that it's not helping our environment. Health protection. I think everybody has exercised this in the last 12 months. I think you've heard all of that, that you have to redesign, let's say, your factories, your layout, your processes, your shift changes, mask, okay. It's quite interesting for us as Europeans, of course. We have seen all the Asian people many years before, wearing masks, and we were always wondering, why do they wear masks? If they just have a cold or whatever. And today we are in the boat. Today we have learned it's a very significant way of avoiding infections, and people don't like it. They're not used to that. But nevertheless, we have to go in this direction, to protect ourselves and keep rules again. And also we have seen a big shift in working in our offices at home, which is also a challenge for many people, because their homes simply are not built that somebody is staying there, that they don't even have networks or computers which are needed to efficiently work from home. So that the infrastructure there also has to be built up or supported to make it more efficient, to do that. So consequences for the factory. some of the targets, integrate sustainability. If you want to have a zero carbon footprint, you have to make investments. And we have seen that, for example, heat pumps and other more efficient equipment, compressors, and all what you're looking at there are simply expensive. You have to have an ROI. And too bad we have seen ROIs which are, let's say, beyond 2 years or 6 months, or a typical investor would like to see. Sometimes it's 10 years. So which investor in the world, that allows you an ROI of 10 years? So that we have to have a mind change there as well. We have seen it a lot with companies which are privately owned, and the boss simply says, the owner says, I'm believing in that. This is my kid's future. So I will also respect a 10 years ROI in a new investment and go for that, because I believe in those targets, and I have a different mindset than the classical investors you're looking at. In respect of layout in the factory, of course, keeping social distance means more space. We haven't seen that impact yet in the last 12 months, that the floor space is necessarily increasing, but nevertheless, we have a decreasing floor space need in the offices. So many people working from home will probably not come back in the same manner as they have been working before. So I think this is a effect that will sustain, that people are working from at home. By the way, it's helping the infrastructure as well. You see less traffic jams, going to the offices, going back home in the evening. So the rush hour is getting a little bit cooler here, which is, I think, a positive effect as well. Germany has kept their environmental targets this year just because of COVID, I would say. So there are some, let's say, some benefits, but we also, of course, have to reflect that then in our infrastructure as well. Other things are simply helping us, artificial intelligence, let's say simulation bases, all kinds of tools are coming up in the software industries, which will have, I would say, a pretty large impact in the way we are dealing with data, in the way we can have a better basis for decision makers. So we will see some positive changes here. By the way, I was a little bit frustrated 30 years ago, 20 years ago with software, because it was never working right. We had big issues with interfaces and stuff like this. So this is getting extremely better. I'm very excited to see what's coming around the corner here to further support us. So little points for you to maybe read later on. You will get the presentation, I guess. And you can look through that. I don't want to read all of that stuff there. Nevertheless, a few issues to take with you. Some things are always to be remembered and remain. Those are the principles of Lean is avoid waste. Yeah, wherever you can, do what the customer needs and nothing else. And think in processes, not just in your corner, not just your factory. Think in your supply chain, think in where you source the stuff, think how you ship it to your customer, and make it happen in a way that you can say and tell your kids, I've done something for your next generation to also have a nice planet here to live on, and use your brain and not always your money. This is important. Many people say, well, it costs a lot of money. A huge investment and stuff like this. Yes, indeed, to a certain point, but to a certain point, it's simply common sense. And this is what I'm missing all the time. And I say, come on, guys, just to use your brain here, common sense, find some simple solutions and go from there. And of course, later on, technology will also cost money. And for larger organizations, this is also not an issue if their strategic willingness is to go in these directions. And see your supply chain, your partners, look at them, and integrate them as, I would say, almost as friends. You're cooperating with people and not with machines, and treat them in a way that you also would like to be treated. And of course, you also go for second sourcing or stuff like this. And understand that there are mega trends. There is no country, there's no east, west, whatever, there are mega trends, they are around the globe, and you can't escape from them. And understand your final customer, even though you're B2B, see what the trend is for your final customer, because in the end of the day, you have to fulfill that as well, even though you have a couple of other dealers, let's say, in between. And build up most flexible structures. This is the key thing. You have to breathe, you know, you have to be dynamic to a change in demand. You have to be dynamic to product changes, because the world today is rapid. You know, you have some influencer telling some nice story about a product, and all of a sudden it booms all the way through. And therefore you need flexibility. And for flexibility, you also need flexible people. You know, you need people which are able to do this today and something else tomorrow, which are simply moving from one part of the factory to the next. And of course, all that has to be financed, you know, consider the financial impact on that, and follow the regulations, don't violate them, because you'll also get in trouble for that. Yeah, there we are with respect. It's also a certain sign of respect, and that you're, you know, simply respecting not only your environment, but your people, regulations. And, you know, we all know that the reputation is gone with the heartbeat if you're not taking care of that. And in the end of the day, you need your support. You need a support from your people, from your workforce, from your brain force. And this is something we have to take care of. Live the Kaizen. Yeah, Kaizen, everybody knows. You know, small steps to improvement. And work on the Kaikaku. Many people don't know that expression. It's also in the books. Have a look at it, you know, search for it. These are the major steps. So you also have to take about major changes and major steps for improvement. Yeah? So that's it for my 50 minutes I have. Maybe you have some questions to me. The last three things, you know, take the 7 points, you know, think about it, sleep about it. And if you need any help, support, we are there to do that. We are doing it with our clients, and we have a good time with them. Not only, you know, hard facts, but also soft facts, you know, dealing with them as people, from people to people, and understand their fears, their concerns, you know. And in the end of the day, yes, of course, it's hard facts, you know. You have to make money and you have to survive, you know, somehow. And there we go. The combination is the fun part. Thank you for attention, and I hope I made you think a little bit. I gave you some ideas.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Fred, for your very interesting presentation. And we have very highly valuable for the 7 points you have shared with us. This is very critical for our country, for our status, and also our cultures. And we believe that our audience now, we have around 37 participants, and we believe that they could have more interesting questions for you later on. So in order to continue the program, I would like to introduce Dr. Đào Hà Trung. He would like to share with us about the blockchain with T-Food International GmbH. And this is something that I believe that is very interesting for all of the audience, because T-Food and also the blockchain which T-Food apply is very updated, and we believe that it could be expand more in the Vietnam market in the coming years. So I would like to invite Dr. Đào Hà Trung. Please show your presentation, and we will start your section.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me to participate in very interesting meeting today, conference today. And well, we will talk a little bit about blockchain, about what we can do, and so on. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we see the screen perfectly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
See.
Thank you very much. I will present a little bit practical point of view how we use a blockchain, because blockchain was amazing what in the last few years and hype in the market until today. So our company is a small company based in Germany and Hungary and in Vietnam, but we are already represented in more than 21 countries in the world. And here you can see my team. We are not all very young. I'm unfortunately most senior between them. And I would say first with you something what we dream every day, how we can cope with COVID-19. Also to use blockchain. It is a picture to show you how we dream, how we control the traveling, from the taxi to airport, airplane, taxi, hotel, and even what we should be percipient. And it is also using blockchain technology. So let's see. We start with application to how to cope with the COVID-19 together with our partner. It is Eurofin. It is lab test cooperation in Germany. They have the 15 representative in 50 countries, and the G Aviation. We create the application calling Trust One, and we already implemented in last year in the big sport event like Formula One, in international airline and cruise line like Etihad, Emirates, and Royal Caribbean. Also in airport in Albany, US, and to connect it also with some healthcare facilities, UK, Italy, Belgium, Germany, Spain, Netherlands, and of course, Belgium. So we are very proud to implement our program in 2 countries with the authority, Slovakia and Belgium. Please see in the screen, you can see what we have done in January and February 2021. And it's absolutely complied with the EU regulation, which is issued last week, 17th of March, about the digital green certification. You can see the people using our application with the blockchain technology to secure their data and information. They can choose the place where they can go easier for them with less people. They can make the booking, and when they come, the staff can make the sample and then give them the result through the mobile phone. So it is wonderful because you don't have to wait, you don't have the contamination between each others, and it is very fast. Let I show you one small video.
41 000 ľudí si už stiahlo novú mobilnú aplikáciu na prihlasovanie na testovanie. Stretávame sa s tým, že niektorí si certifikát o absolvovaní testovania vytlačajú a nosia ho v papierovej podobe. To nemusia robiť. Polícia v Nitre už disponuje čítačkami a pomocou QR kódu už vieme zistiť, či osoba skutočne bola na testovaní a tým pádom má povolený vstup do okresu Nitra. Ak sa občan testovania nezúčastnil, aplikácia signalizuje nepovolený vstup. Tvorcovia aplikácie mysleli aj na špekulantov, ktorí by chceli výsledky svojho testu preposlať svojim známym. Originálny QR kód sa v krátkych časových úsekoch obnovuje. Polícia začne túto technológiu využívať od soboty 23. januára.
So you can see with this application, we can control and we can support the authority to control the disease quite effectively. And I think that now maybe I show you more about the food industry. Maybe you are more interested also about this topic. We have actually in my company 3 systems. One system is about the livestock and epidemic management, when we have to keep the stock number, the disease, epidemic disease, and animal transportate, and report it to the government, to the farm, and so on. We have also the traceability for fresh food and also processing food. In general, we trace the product from the farm to the table. You can see in the picture, every step of the food movement from the farm to the consumer was controlled by system, and every record will be stored in the blockchain. When we're talking about the traceability and food supply chain, I would like to show you the short diagram about what kind of the component of the system. So it is very important to have object identification when you can use a different kind of the technology, QR code, RFID, Bluetooth, or whatever. You have also the data capture when you can use a mobile phone application, web admin, Excel upload, or you can use also API or IoT to collect the data. And we store the data in blockchain or central database. And we have also the data processing when you follow the business logic or recall process or report. And of course, the landing page to show the result for internal people or for customers. The two main challenging for traceability in the food supply chain is the data capture and product serialization. In the different country, you have the different kind of corporation, cooperative, farm, and to collect the data from them is it really difficult things because you have to put all of the information from all of the participants in one database. And for this one, we have to manage. That's why we have to use a different tool to collect the data. And for the product serialization is also a big problem when we have to trace fresh food, animal, and so on. So here we have to use a different kind of identification. It can be the pre-generated by our company. It can be real-time generated by our system. It can be used also the QR code generated by third party. I show you a short video to see how it works. It might be interesting. So in this video, you can see the product go very fast, and we have to printing the real-time QR code on each product to identify the product. It is quite challenging. We have to print very fast and readable for smartphone. Here you can have the mobile phone to collect information. You can have the special product recall process according to the country, the regulation of the country you are. And very important to have very good landing page to show the result to the customers. I mean the consumer. Here, traceability and food traceability is important for the marketing reason, and that's why we normally work not only with the production department but also very close with the marketing department, because through our result of the traceability, you can see the effect like improve the brand image, like better supplier scoring, or improve the certification management, or very important, the quick product recalls. Today, we have quite a number of the customers in the world, and we are very proud to serve more than 100 million people in the world at this moment. And we have few projects which is maybe very interesting for you. It is the first in Ho Chi Minh City, we trace the pig, poultry, and eggs since 2016. Every day is about 10,000 pigs and 200,000 chicken with 2.5 million eggs. We also implement the livestock management and epidemic control system together with authorities. It's starting since 2019, and at this moment today in the 10th province. We implement the product traceability in Vietnamese company is one of the biggest dairy company in South Asia. We also serve Auchan. Auchan is a big retailer company in France, in Italy, in Portugal, and many other 15 countries. We launched the program for Migros. It's the biggest retailer in Switzerland, and the challenging in the Migros is how to control suppliers. So here we implement not only traceability with data from the farm, but also payment. So last one, it may be also interesting for the men. We have make the traceability for the beer, and the company in Australia, they make a special beer for that. It's calling blockchain. Vietnam, we have a lot of implementation in food traceability for food processing, and also even for the small and medium-sized entrepreneurs, we have also a small program for them, how they can check the product. So I think it is my 20 minutes already over, and thank you for your attention. And if you have the question, we will come back.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dao Ha Trung. This is very interesting presentation to us. And we believe that this is very important to make us know about very interesting application and solution you have applied to different chain, different brands, not only in Vietnam, but also around the world. And we believe that in order to enhance more sustainable global supply chains, we also need your, more solution from your company, as well for others company will apply on that. Thank you very much. So in order to support the audience know more about how we can get support from the supporting industry centers, so we would like to invite Ms. Lê Nguyễn Duy Oanh. She will give us an overview about how can we get more support from the supporting industry center of Ho Chi Minh City. And we believe this is very important for us, not only in Vietnam, but also in ASEAN, to know about how can we go further to do international trade in the new setting of global supply chains. So I would like to invite Ms. Oanh. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for giving us a chance to present and share the experience that we are working with our SMEs company in the supply chains. So in the supporting industry in Vietnam now, most of our companies, local companies, a very small size company, and over the time, more than like last few 3, 4 years, we target to develop the local SMEs. So this is one of the case we support the SMEs company to assess the supply chain of Samsung. In order to assess to the supply chain of Samsung Electronics in Vietnam, this is one of the case we see that the SMEs company
Hello, Ms. Oanh. I believe that you should keep on your presentation. We can listen to you very well.
Okay, the time Samsung Electronics in Vietnam is the one big FDI, and they have, in order to assess the supply chain of big FDI international multinational company like Samsung, it takes a lot of efforts, and we think that in order to assess to supply chain of Samsung in Vietnam, there's a big chance for Vietnam at the time, because Samsung already agree that they're gonna promote and assist the local supplier in Vietnam to join their supply chains. So they launched a program called Local Development Program, and they commit with our government, our local companies. They're gonna develop 50 local suppliers during 2018 and 2025. So what Samsung did, they promote the innovation projects by sending their own experts to the factory of local Vietnamese supplier within 3 months. The expert from Samsung, they will assist our local company to work on the productivity and quality innovation inside the factory, because in order to supply and join the supply chain of Samsung, the local supplier needs to understand the environment, the way of working, and most of the important thing is the quality process must be committed and must be follow the international standard like Samsung is apply on their factory in the world. Then the second things they do the evaluation process and promote vendor. Means over 3 months, if the local potential Vietnamese supplier, they work well and they perform well, then they have a chance to make the evaluation process with Samsung, and in order to continue us the innovation project, because after 3 months in house of the Vietnamese local supplier, Samsung train our local trainer, local expert to continue support with the local factory, because over 3 months, 6 months, it require a lot of effort for the Vietnamese company to learn about new practice, new methods, new process, in order to keep the quality and the productivity as international requirements. And from the government, I think one of the successful of this program is most of the staff from the government is the Ministry of Industrial and Trade. They assign Vietnam Industrial Agency focal point to work with the business support organization in each province, and in Ho Chi Minh City, CSID is our center, is the Center of Support Industry Development Center. Is one of the business support organization to cooperate with the Vietnam Industrial Agency and with Samsung in order to recommend who is the which one is the potential local SMEs. And some of the case that because of the innovation by Samsung inside the factory of local Vietnamese supplier, it requires a lot of knowledge, a lot of change, a lot of new methods, a lot of new process, which is our local SMEs is very hard to get adapt with a new innovation. That's why as a business support organization in the local province in Ho Chi Minh City, we also have our own expert in the quality and process to help the local SMEs first, to train them on the working as a team, to assist them how to make the quality control, and those experts we send to the factory before the Samsung send the innovation program. Is we get support from other projects. It's called SCORE by ILO and BCCI. Then with that preparation, the company can assess and to work. And some of the successful case, here's a Minh printing. We will share with you the websites company and Tinton-wise. These two cases, they are very small size of Vietnamese company. They have experience to work with a small, a lot of the requirement of the product, but for the mass production to join the supply chains of the multinational company like Samsung, it takes a lot of efforts, and they already join the supply chain over the time. They join the innovation program, they prepare for their quality, they cooperate with the government, they cooperate with the experts, so they can join the supply chain and they still work well. So I think the practice experience we share here is in the sustainable development for the SME companies to join the supply chain. They must have the support from lead firm. The lead firm here in Samsung is very, very important, and lead firm can provide the technical assistance with their local development program, because only the lead firm, they can advise, they can guide the local supplier in the supply chain how to follow the practice, how to keep on with the supply chain, keeping changing over the time. And the second linkage we think is from the government. The government, when they develop the FDI, they also think of an action plan on linkage the FDI with the local supplier. And here is the case with the Ministry of Industry and Trade and Samsung. They cooperate and develop the local supplier. Then I think another good practice experience here is the cooperation between the government and the business support organization in the areas like Ho Chi Minh City. We have here the Center of Support the Industry to work with the government agency, with the SMEs company. Here is the Tinton and Minh printing, and we also have the cooperate with experts well on the manufacturing. And the most important thing we think in order to succeed in for the SMEs in the supply chains is a very strong commitment from the leader of SMEs in the access to supply chains like the Tinh Thần Hoài and Minh Mẫn Vinh Tin. They can access to supply chains because we think that they have the leader, the CEO is acknowledge of the chance and also accept the challenge to innovate in their factory and develop and cooperate with the various authority, cooperate with FDI, cooperate with the expert in order to operate their factory. And we think that this kind of practice is a good practice for the other local SMEs and other partner in the supply chains, how the SMEs can access to the multinational enterprise supply chain like Samsung, and we are applying this kind of practice for other FDIs like Panasonic and incoming FDIs in Vietnam, invested in Vietnam. And we think that as a business organization, we still can do and continuous to set up a database of local supplier. Currently now our CSA ID center already have online the database of local supplier, and then we develop it, and we are gonna spread and share the database with the other FDI invested in Vietnam, and cooperate with FDI is a lead form to promote the linkage, like what we are doing with the SCORE project by IO and BCCI Ho Chi Minh City, or Supplier Development Program project by the government agency VA and IFC World Bank, or we also working with the Link SME project by USAID, and those projects to improve our center human resource capacity also create the network. And yes, the networking with the local expert in the manufacturing is very, very important in the supply chains, because they are the one who work with the local supplier to make the change inside the factories. And we still have to get the local SMEs to continue us to the factory innovation program, 5S Kaizen, productivity, quality, and safety. We think that those experiences we have been through last 3-4 years and still be a good practice for as a business support organizations like us to work with the local SME. And we would like to share one of the case that our Vietnamese company, small size, with the strong support and linkage and commitment, strong commitment, they can join the supply chain of multinational company. And I think that is for our some practice experience to share with the conference. And thank you very much for your time to attend. And if you have any further question, you can contact us and advise if you have any other, and we would like to join and learn from yours. And thank you very much for organizing this online event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Oanh, for your very interesting sharing about the activities of Samsung, and also very interesting innovative project for the SME in Vietnam. So we believe that in the future, it's not only two companies you have shown could have the benefit from the business support organization, as well as all the projects come from different FDI company. So we believe that we will have more than that. And of course, we would like to work closely with your center in order to bring more SME, not only from Vietnam, but also from other countries if they would like to set up a company in Vietnam. So we also make the linkages for them and use Vietnam as a platform for the next generation of global supply chain. So thank you very much for the interesting presentation, and thank you very much as well for Fred Wilbert and Dr. Đào Hà Trung for all of your presentation. And what we have learned from the section is here is that a 7-point interesting point from Fred Wilbert, and also the traceability blockchain from Dr. Đào Hà Trung, and also the business support activities from the center from Ho Chi Minh City. So we believe that in the future, if we have the chance to work with all of the partners together with you, that's also a good chance for us. And right now, this is something, some of the questions. This is very interesting questions. And in order to support the audience, I would like to give you two questions. This is the first question for Dr. Đào Hà Trung. So you mentioned specific solution for the SME. Does this company need any specific IT investment to be able to use your blockchain technology?
Thank you for the question. I have to say that in our practice, of course, we need a certain level of the infrastructure, and it depends on the country. So in my country, Vietnam, in our system here, we have more than 3,000 farms and SMEs joined to our system, and participants from different sectors, from FDI sector, from very high tech, with well-equipped companies like CP, Zaffa, and also from very small farm. Because in Vietnam, we have very good internet infrastructure, and the smartphone is quite cheap. So it's two important things that we can need the minimum investment to the IT infrastructure. And you don't need special people how to deal with the IT, how to deal with the blockchain. Blockchain was under your operating. You don't need to know about that, but it's still working on more than 300 nodes in the world. But of course, if you have big infrastructure, we can invite supply chain to be joined into our blockchain structures as well. So they can verify and certify every transaction to be more transparency. Thank you. Hello?
Thank you very much for, hello, can you hear us?
Yes, now I can hear again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for your answers. And I believe that there's so many companies, it's not only these questions. And we believe that we would like to keep your contact, and in the futures, we will give you more information, and then you can send to our participants some more information about your solution. Yes, can we? Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So the second questions I have received on my screen, that is the questions for Ms. Nguyen. So this is the very interesting questions. In many industry, multinationals are followed by global suppliers. So it means that it must be compliant with the supplier. So they are taking the chance from local and SME. How do the business support organization like you deal with this situation? How multinational are made interest in collaborating with the local SMEs?
Thank you very much for the question. I think this is happening in every country. That's one of the big, like one multinational enterprise, when they invested in any country, the followers is that their international, their global supply will follow. And it's happened many years in Vietnam. It's happened before, but once the government decide that we have to develop the local network, to have to improve the capacity of the local network. So I think in that situations, we cannot stop the global industrial supplier taking advance tech trans from the local. But we have to realize that there are chances for the local SMEs if the multinational enterprise they invested here in Vietnam. And the local SMEs, they have to upgrade, they have to improve their capacity in order to get the some advantage from the chance to join the supply chains in some advanced like stocks. They are here. They are SMEs here, they must have the capacity, they must have the network, they must cooperate, and they must innovate in order to get the price competitive in comparison with the global supplier. And since they are here, they can have the human resource, and they have better more advantage on the transportation, on the location, on distance, on the deliveries. And the thing is, they have to improve the capacity in order to compete, to have the better price to compete with the global supplier. They far from the other country, they have to invest and to have to make everything new is here. So we acknowledge the fact and a lot of challenge for the local SMEs. That's why we mentioned that now we have the linkage. We have developed the business support organization in some province which is centralized a lot of manufacturing, and linkage the business support organization with the government agencies program, and we try to get the linkage. We get the good agreement, commitment with the multinational enterprise when they invest here. They get initiative, and one of the incentive is when they receive incentive, they will support the local with the capacity improvement. So we think that we cannot stop the global supplier, but we try to improve the local SMEs capacity and try to link and make them have a network, have the environment with a business support organization like us, like other business support organization, like productivity with the government, and by linkage and sharing the information. If the SME they wish to join, like the case of Tiến Thịnh, Nguyen or Minh Mẫn, should they have a chance. And we also have the government agencies now is trying to promote and give the better environment for the local and manufacturing company. Like they will have areas like land. They can have a central. They can together, and they can network better. They're saving the cost. And I think one of the things is we try to tell to the multinational enterprise companies, we have the network, we build a network, and they have the capacity. The chance will be joined. Yeah, we cannot stop the follower supplier, global supplier, but try to improve the local capacity in order to get a better linkage. Like one of the case Samsung already did in Vietnam and quite successful.
So thank you very much, Ms. Oanh. And we believe that it's not only the case with Samsung. In the future, more European companies, more European technology will be transferred together under this project. And we will have more chance to work with them in order to enhance the capability with the SME, but also we can bring the insight of the international SME into Vietnam to enhance the capability of Vietnamese company. So thank you very much for an interesting section we have today for the sustainable global supply chain. So we believe that we have very interesting takeaways after the section. So I would like to send our sincere thanks to our speakers within this section today again. And I would like to invite all of the participants as well as speakers that we still have two parallel workshops after 4 p.m. Vietnam time. So this is also something very interesting because the section, the two parallel sections will be the European sustainable manufacturing in Vietnam with some case study of very interesting solution applied already in Vietnam. And the Europe new assessment state experiences and technology partnering, that is also workshop number 4, parallelly happening at 4 p.m. Vietnam time or 10 a.m. Europe time. So thank you very much, and we hope that we could see you in the next workshop parallel section. Thank you. See you later.